Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to this media conference to preview tomorrow's FIFA World Cup qualifier against San Marino at Wembley. I'm joined here by Gareth Southgate and Mason Mount, and we'll shortly begin with 5 minutes from Sky Sports News. Before we do, a reminder of the housekeeping rules. Please use your virtual hands or the chat box if you have a question, and please try to limit it to one question with the option of a follow-up once we finish with Sky. So without further ado, Gareth, we'll begin with yourself.
First of all, Gareth, tomorrow's your 50th game as England manager, and you become the first man to reach 50 as a player and a manager. I was just wondering, what did you think international football had in store for you when you came on as a sub for Dennis Wise at Wembley 26 years ago?
Well, that's a moment that will live with me forever and my family. I think when you're a young player, my only dream was to play for England. So to have been involved as a player with England for 9 seasons and then to have the privilege of being involved with the FA and the junior teams for a period, and then now 50 games with the seniors it's been an absolute honour. And I suppose something I'll think about more when everything's finished. Really, there'll be numbers up on boards somewhere that will be there. So it's a nice landmark, but of course my focus really is with the team and making sure that we get this World Cup qualification off to a good start.
We saw the players train this morning. Marcus Rashford wasn't on the pitch and Bukayo Saka hasn't joined up yet. What is the situation with them? Do you think they'll be fit to play any of these 3 games?
Well, they're both doubtful. I'd say Marcus more doubtful than Bukayo at the moment. But we're going to assess them. Marcus has been very keen to be with us. He obviously wasn't with us so much in the autumn, so I think he's been keen to be part of the group and get with us. Bukayo has needed to have some sort of investigations at the club first, so hasn't been able to join us yet, but we're hopefully will be by the in the next couple of days.
San Marino are the lowest ranked country in the world. They've never won a competitive game. Do you have anything to worry about tomorrow, except conceding a goal after 8 seconds?
Well, look, any team can score at any time in a game. You can have random incidents like happened that night. I remember watching that game as a youngster. So we've got to focus on, the majority of the game we're going to have the ball. We want a positive performance where our players enjoy having the ball, but that we're ruthless with it, and that we're have the movement and the creativity to go and create chances and to score goals. So you can look at it in any different way. You can go into the game apprehensive because of what might go wrong, but we've got to be positive and say it's a game you should enjoy. You don't get too many games where at Wembley you can go out, you're going to have a lot of the ball, and you've got to make sure that you use it well.
Just a couple of questions for Mason, if I may. Mason, you were the only player to start all 3 England games last November. Are you beginning to feel like an established England player now?
I think by every camp you grow in confidence. It feels like yesterday when I made my debut at Wembley, and it's gone so quick. But yeah, as you said, you gain confidence, you learn more and more every camp, and obviously I want to keep getting better and better. That's the most important thing, personally and as a group. And I think we're obviously on the right track, and it starts with the World Cup qualifiers and the game tomorrow.
You played in midfield against Ireland and Iceland, and further forward against Belgium. What do you feel is your best position? There's been a lot of debate about this, but what do you personally think?
I can play in different positions. I think my versatility is something that's a positive for me. I don't mind playing a bit deeper and higher up in the midfield. So I don't mind. I can play anywhere. And as I said, that's definitely a positive for me. And just keep trying to, as I said before, work hard and know what I need to do in the different positions.
And Gareth, when it comes to which games Harry Kane starts, how much of a say does he have in it? I mean, do you ever take into consideration his desire to break Wayne Rooney's England record, for instance? I think Wayne Rooney scored 4 of his 53 goals against San Marino.
Well, if I allowed Harry to make that decision, he'd play every minute. So that won't be happening. But look, it's brilliant. We've got a captain who wants to play every minute of every game. And we've got to be mindful that he had extra time last Thursday, then another high-intensity game on Sunday. So, but we've got that situation with a lot of the players, really. We've got to make sure we manage the fixtures correctly. We've done that through training this week as well. And of course, we need to be just as fresh for the games with Albania and Poland as we do tomorrow night. So that's not an unusual challenge for us as a coaching team, and for our medical team and our physical performance team. But we always communicate well with the players, and I think we are in a good place going into the game tomorrow.
Can I just finish with 2 questions about racism? Jude Bellingham, even though he's only 17, became the latest player to be racially abused on social media. The FA tweeted that something needs to change. What do you think that something is? For instance, are we getting to the stage now where players should just delete their social media accounts?
Well, the first thing is that clearly it's unacceptable for anybody to be receiving the sort of abuse that Jude in this instance has, but also other players that are playing with us. It's a very complex situation in terms of what action the players might take, because of course it's a brilliant tool for communicating with the fans, and especially in a time when we can't interact with the fans in the stadiums, to lose all contact with the fans is not something that as a game we want. Equally, if that interaction is bringing that sort of negativity into your life and that sort of abuse, then nobody really wants to put up with that. So I think we've said in the past, and the FA and other football authorities have said, we need stricter legislation around the control of those sites. And I know that's also a complex issue because of people in countries where to not have the freedom of speech is a dangerous restriction. So it's not an easy thing to police, because this abuse might not necessarily just be coming from people living in England. It can be worldwide. We just have to make a stand on everything in terms of racism to say it's just not acceptable.
Just a final quick question from me. Will the players be taking the knee before the game tomorrow?
I've spoken with the leadership team about this last night, and I've asked them to talk with the other players, because I think it's a good process for them to hear each other's views first and foremost. That's part of how we educate ourselves in all of these different matters and these different issues. The one thing we're very clear on is that we'll be unified on whatever we do. And if there's any doubt, then I think we would take the knee. So I'm hugely respectful of everybody's individual opinions on that. I still think there is an impact to be had on it. But, I think when I listened to Wilfried Zaha's comments, for example, I thought he spoke really well, and I totally understood why he felt that, that wasn't enough now, and that it was seemed to be just part of the background. So again, complicated. The debate around whether we should take the knee or not, or whether we should walk off a pitch or not, they're actually the slightly peripheral things. The core problems with racism and discrimination, and they're the deeper discussions that need to happen. The protests help put that conversation on the table. But of course, we've got to address the much deeper issues as much as we've got to make a symbolic gesture.
Carve. Next, we'll go to Kerry Brown of BeanymanSports.
Hello, Gareth. I'm wondering, with a Euros and a World Cup in back-to-back years, how many matches are you planning ahead? In the Premier League, it would be 2 matches. And because of that, are fans who might be expecting you to stray away from a 3-4-3 going to be disappointed?
I think we're looking at the short term, the mid term and the long term with the team, what might be possible, what will be the best way of approaching different games. And I think we feel that we need to be tactically flexible. I think we've been that way over the last 3-4 years, really. We've played various different systems at different times. With a club, you probably have more continuity. You recruit to a system of play. With international football, you want your best players on the pitch in the positions where they can be most effective. So I think modern players are very adaptable. They can switch systems very quickly. They can take on concepts very well. That's part of being a top player in the modern day. You see with their clubs, they have to adapt very quickly, and they'll be able to do that with us as well.
We saw that from Mason. He was playing 3 positions in one match against Sheffield United, I believe. Can you let us know how Jude's settling in as well in his England camp? And some were saying that Mason and Declan may not be the most exciting partnership, but we've seen how much Declan has been bombing forward. How many exciting options do you have?
Well, very excited. I'm excited by them. I mean, they might. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't be excited by them at their age, but in terms of Jude, he's really settled in well. He's a very mature 17-year-old, and I think the rest of the players appreciate his mentality. He's found a nice balance of showing enough confidence on the training pitch to show what he can do, but not an overconfidence around the group. He's got good humility to understand he's got to work his way into that group. So he's clearly had an amazing life experience going to Dortmund already and dealt with that so well, and exposure to Champions League football as well as a top-level football club. So he's taking everything remarkably well in his stride.
Alex Howell of BBC Sport.
Hi Gareth. There's some nice stories in the squad this week with players coming back into the squad. How have they done ahead of the game tomorrow?
Well, we obviously haven't had an enormous amount of training time because lots of players playing Sunday, and so for some of the players only briefly on the pitch yesterday. But everybody's settled back well. You can tell the excitement for the whole group of coming back together. It's nice for everybody to have a refresh. There's a lot of club matches, but sometimes the change of environment and getting back with a different group and the boys who are so close coming back together brings a new energy, and that's been great to see. So we're very pleased with the way training has been. There's obviously been a lot of tactical emphasis within that, but also we want the players to enjoy their football, and so some sessions on the pitch where they've been able to just enjoy skills and compete against each other as well.
And it's a milestone tomorrow for you, the 50th match in charge. How happy have you been with the way the team's progressed?
Well, of course, at the very beginning, there was a huge lack of confidence in everything, really. Disappointing European Championship, 2 very quick changes of manager, and we had to try to work through all of that, stabilise the ship, qualify for a World Cup in that process, and then start to change the way that we wanted to play and blood some of the young players that we knew were coming through the system. So there's been a lot of different phases of that, and of course the last 12 months has been a remarkable situation for everybody, frankly. So to have had the experience of managing through that period has been from the sublime to the ridiculous, really. But incredible life experience, something that is a huge honour. And but I'm looking forward now. It's not for me. Tomorrow isn't about any landmark for me. It's about the team. It's about a good performance, and we're building now for the 3 games this week.
Okay, so next we'll go to Jack Pitbrook from The Athletic.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Jack.
You've been very critical of the schedule over the last 6 months. Given the ranking of San Marino, do you think this game should be taking place?
Well, every country has the right to take part in a World Cup in the same way that every club has the right to take part in the FA Cup. It's part of what makes our game an amazing. The amazing stories that come up. The schedule, the decisions around the schedule were made last July, August. That was the time for everybody to debate it and to get together. So we're dealing with that schedule as a group of staff. We're preparing the players in the best possible way to make sure that, as their clubs are, they're given the best recovery, the best treatment, the best training periodisation to be able to excel in the matches.
Is it harder for you coming into your 3rd successive 3-game break, given that the club football calendar has been so demanding since September?
Well, we've clearly lost a lot of players coming into the camp. We did through the autumn, so that's something that I think we're all having to cope with. But that's an opportunity for other players, and I think whatever scenario you have as a coaching team, there's going to be challenges that you've got to plot your way through and find the best possible path through.
Turn to Carrier BeanymanSports, who has a question for Mason Mount.
Thank you, Mason. I know it must have been really tough when Frank Lampard left and then Thomas put you on the bench. So to come into this international camp being played in 3 different positions, captaining your club again, talk us through what must have been quite a roller coaster ride and how well this camp are all connecting as well together as you return.
Yeah, exactly how you put it. It's been a bit of a roller coaster the last couple months, but valuable experience for me. I've learnt a lot. Coming off, obviously being captain, I'd probably say it's actually 5 positions I played in the game instead of 3 that I've played. I've changed a couple more. But yeah, all good experiences for me to learn. I haven't had something like that in a game. But no, as I said before, I'm versatile. I can change positions. And that's what the modern game is about. And obviously now coming into the international break, we're all very excited, all buzzing to be back together after quite a long break. And we're ready to get down to business and play the games.
I don't want to ask you this question, but it's not a question I've asked to Reece. It's a question I've asked to Callum, who've all been subjected to racist abuse online. What's your message to any fan that would entertain the idea of reacting like that on social media if anything should go wrong in a match? Because we hear young black players having to talk about it, but it hurts you all in the dressing room to see your teammates subjected to abuse like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. As you said, Callum and Reece, there's people that I've grown up with from a very young age, and it's not acceptable to have that kind of abuse happen. We love football, but it doesn't go past that. So yeah, it's difficult to see, and as I said, I've grown up with these boys. They're like family to me. To see that happen, it really hurts. So yeah, it's not acceptable, and it shouldn't continue any longer.
Kinsella from goal.com.
Hi Mason, nice to see you.
Hi Nizar.
Just wanted to ask you, one characteristic of your game's versatility, but another's durability. You've not really had many injuries and you play a lot of football. How do you sort of handle yourself to always be available and always be out on the pitch? And are you one of these guys that would happily play a game the day after another game as well?
Yeah, touch wood, I haven't had many injuries so far, but I'm someone that loves football, so any opportunity to play or be involved, I'll be ready. So I'm still young as well, that helps, being able to play a lot of games in short spaces of time. yeah, it's something that I've learned over the years going to the Championship. That was my kind of first experience of playing a lot of games in a short space of time, and then coming back to Chelsea in my first year. We had so many games, and I think I played around 54 in the season. So you gain that experience as the season goes on. You learn how to look after your body and to be available for every single game, because that's what you want to be as a player. You want to play as much as possible. So yeah, it's a positive of mine as well to be able to play, but hopefully I can continue to look after myself and be at 100% most of the games.
Is there anyone you've sort of emulated in how to handle yourself off the pitch and make sure you're always available, the way you eat, the way you train, and things like that?
No, I wouldn't say there's anyone that I've kind of looked at, but I think going on loan is something that really helped me. Speaking to players that are older, experienced, that have been in the game way longer than me, at that young age, speaking to them, being around them, especially at Derby, that really helped me make my game better and understand what football's about. It's not just about on the pitch, it's off the pitch is a massive part of controlling how you can do on it. So yeah, I learnt a lot while I was at Derby and obviously at Chelsea as well, speaking to the experienced boys that have been there and done it way longer than I have.
Thanks, Nazar. Okay, we have time for one more question in this section of tonight's media activity, and we'll finish with one from Dom Smith of englandfootball.org.
Thanks, Andy. Hi, one question for each of you, if I can, please. First of all, for Mason, you're a player who's come in for quite a lot of, I think, unfair criticism and comparisons over the past couple of years. Are you proud that Frank Lampard, Thomas Tuchel and Gareth have all stuck by you? I mean, does it show that you're almost undroppable and that a lot of criticism was undeserved?
I mean, no one's undroppable, I don't think. But for me personally, I've spoke a bit about it before. I don't really look into anything like that, any negativity that anyone has said. My main focus is what I do on the pitch, and try and do that to the highest level that I can. If that's at Chelsea or if that's away when I'm with England, that's what I can affect. So anytime I'm training, anytime I have the opportunity to play, I want to do the best I can. So yeah, that's my main focus, and that's what I've always done since a little kid.
Okay, and for Gareth as well, we've heard there earlier with other questions the number of positions that Mason has played, both in individual games for Chelsea and also in separate games for you. I mean, how important is it having, tactically adaptable and versatile players going ahead to the European Championships where the squad's so small, only 23 players?
Yes, it's hugely important in any game, really, because you can face tactical changes of the opponent at any time. So to have players with a really good understanding and that have that tactical awareness and can make good decisions on the field and adjust and find the spaces depending on where the pressure is, or understand which lines to press down so that they can affect the balls into the opposition. You can't have too many intelligent footballers, and I think players that are coming through our academies now are much more switched on to that type. They're exposed to a really good level of coaching at a young age. They're watching high level of football at the weekends. And now we've got top managers from around Europe working in the clubs as well. So it's definitely had a positive impact on English players and on English coaches.
Okay, apologies to those we couldn't come to, but that concludes this section of tonight's media conference. Thanks for joining us.